They counted you out, but they never counted your heart, and that's the mistake people always make. They judge you by what they can see, not by what you're willing to endure. They look at your background, your resources, your past failures, your current position, and they assume your future is already decided. But what they don't see is the fire that wakes you up before the alarm clock. They don't see the nights you stayed up when quitting would have been easier. They don't see the tears, the self-doubt, the fear you faced, and kept moving anyway. Being overlooked is not a disadvantage, it's preparation. When nobody expects anything from you, you're free to grow without pressure, to fail without judgment, and to build without distraction. See, when people believe in you too early, sometimes you get comfortable. But when nobody believes in you, you get hungry. And hunger will make you do what talent won't. Hunger will push you to outwork people who are more gifted, more connected, more experienced. Hunger sharpens your focus. Hunger makes excuses unacceptable. You don't need applause when you're starving for purpose. You don't need validation when your vision is clear. You start learning how to clap for yourself, how to encourage yourself, how to keep going when there's no crowd cheering you on. This is where heart is built. Heart is developed in isolation, in rejection, in moments when you ask yourself, is this really worth it? And every time you answer yes and keep pushing, something inside you grows stronger. You stop relying on external motivation and start operating from internal conviction. You're no longer driven by likes, praise, or approval. You're driven by destiny. That's dangerous. That's what makes an underdog unstoppable. People didn't count your heart because heart can't be measured. It doesn't show up on resumes. It doesn't announce itself on social media. Heart shows up when you're tired but disciplined. Heart shows up when you fail and refuse to stay down. Heart shows up when the odds are stacked against you and you decide to stack effort on top of effort anyway. That's why the underdog is so powerful, because they've been training in the dark while others were performing in the light. And when your moment finally comes, it won't look like luck. It'll look sudden to them, but you'll know the truth. You'll know about the years of being ignored, the doors that stayed closed, the times you had to motivate yourself because no one else would. You'll know that your rise was earned, not given. And when you finally stand on that stage, in that position, in that moment they said you'd never reach, it won't just be success, it'll be vindication. So let them count you out, let them underestimate you, let them sleep on you, because while they're watching what's visible, you're building what's unstoppable. Your heart is the advantage they never saw coming, and it will be the reason you rise. Fire, ground pressure didn't break you, it introduced you to your power. See, everybody wants success, but not everybody wants the weight that comes with it. Pressure is uncomfortable, it's heavy, it tests your limits, and that's exactly why most people run from it. But you didn't run. When life tightened the grip, when expectations were low and obstacles were high, something inside you woke up. You discovered strength you didn't even know you had, because pressure has a way of revealing who you really are when comfort is gone. Most people fold when things get hard. They complain, they blame, they wait for conditions to improve. But pressure forced you to adapt. You learned how to think faster, move smarter, and stay focused when everything around you was shaking. While others were breaking down emotionally, you were being built mentally. Every setback trained your mind. Every loss sharpened your awareness. Every difficult season became a classroom. Pressure didn't pause your progress, it accelerated it. See, power isn't developed in ease, it's developed in resistance. Just like muscles grow under tension, your character grew under stress. The nights you wanted to quit but kept going, that was power. The moments you were scared but still showed up, That was power. The times you felt alone but refused to give up, that was power. You weren't just surviving the pressure, you were absorbing it, learning from it, and turning it into fuel. What people don't understand is that pressure will either expose your excuses or elevate your execution. You chose execution, you stopped asking, why is this happening to me? And started asking, what is this teaching me? That shift changed everything. Instead of seeing pressure as punishment, you saw it as preparation. You realized that life wasn't trying to crush you. It was trying to strengthen you for what's next. Now you walk different, you think different, you respond different. Things that used to shake you don't even move you anymore. Why? Because you've already been through the fire. You've already survived the heat. You know what you're capable of when it's hard. And that confidence can't be taught. It has to be earned through experience. So don't resent the pressure. Respect it, because pressure didn't come to destroy you. It came to introduce you to your power. And now that you know what you're made of, nothing can stop you. The underdog doesn't fear pressure anymore. They thrive in it. Fire. Flexed you worked in silence while they talked in comfort. And that's the difference between people who want it and people who are willing to earn it. While others were busy explaining why it couldn't be done, you were quietly putting in the hours. No cameras, no applause, no validation, just you, the grind, and a decision to stay disciplined when nobody was watching. Silence became your sanctuary. It was where focus was built, where excuses died, and where consistency turned into character. See, comfort makes people loud but lazy. When life is easy, people talk more than they do. They announce plans instead of executing them. They look busy but avoid the work that actually changes their situation. You didn't have that luxury. Comfort wasn't an option, so commitment became your language. You learned to let your work speak, to let progress replace promises. Every quiet rep, every unseen sacrifice, every lonely step forward was building something real. Working in silence teaches patience. It teaches you how to delay gratification, how to keep going without instant results. There were days when nothing seemed to be changing, when effort didn't immediately equal reward. But you kept showing up. You trusted the process even when it felt slow, even when it felt unfair. That's where most people quit, right before the breakthrough. But you stayed, and staying is a skill most people never develop. While they were comfortable, you were uncomfortable on purpose. You chose early mornings over extra sleep, discipline over distraction, growth over excuses. You didn't wait to feel motivated. You moved because you were committed. That's a different level of maturity. That's understanding that success doesn't come from talking about the work. It comes from doing the work, especially when you don't feel like it. And now, when results start showing up, people are surprised. They say it happened overnight. They call it luck. They ask how you did it so fast. They don't see the years of quiet preparation, the times you said no to comfort so you could say yes to purpose. They don't realize that your silence wasn't inactivity. It was incubation. So keep working in silence. Let them stay comfortable, because comfort never builds greatness and noise never replaces discipline. When it's time to speak, let your results make the announcement. The underdog doesn't need to talk loud. Their rise says everything. Fire. Crown your comeback is proof that persistence beats position. See, where you start doesn't decide where you finish. How long you're willing to stay in the fight does. Position is temporary, but persistence is permanent. You may have started behind, underestimated, overlooked, or written off, but you refused to let that be the final chapter. While others relied on titles, talent, or timing, you relied on endurance. And endurance will take you places privilege never can. Most people quit because they think their current position defines their potential. They look at the gap between where they are and where they want to be and get discouraged. But you understood something different. Progress doesn't happen in leaps, it happens in layers. One day at a time. One decision at a time, one disciplined action stacked on top of another. You didn't need to win all at once. You just needed to not quit. Every time life knocked you down, you got back up a little wiser, a little tougher, a little more focused. You didn't just bounce back, you built back better. Failure didn't embarrass you, it educated you. Rejection didn't stop you, it sharpened you. Delay didn't defeat you, it developed you. That's persistence. That's choosing to continue when quitting would make sense to everyone else. People love to celebrate the comeback but rarely respect the process. They don't see the frustration, the doubt, the slow seasons where nothing seemed to move. They don't see the inner battles you won when no one else knew you were fighting. But those moments are what gave your comeback credibility. Because when you rise after being tested, your success carries weight. It's not fragile, it's earned. Persistence doesn't care about odds. It doesn't care about rankings, labels, or opinions. It just keeps showing up. And eventually, persistence wears down resistance. Doors that stayed closed begin to crack. Opportunities that ignored you start to notice you. Not because you begged, but because you stayed. So let your comeback be loud, not in words, but in results. Let it remind you, and everyone watching, that you are not a product of your position, but a reflection of your persistence. The underdog doesn't rise by chance. They rise because they refuse to stop, and that's why the crown fits. Crown fire.